Did you know you can create beautiful homemade stains with items you already have in your pantry and your garage? We tested it out, for science, and today we're going to show you how you can do it at home. Hello again, Remodelaholics. I'm Cassidy. Welcome back to our DIY channel. I'm so excited to share today's experiment with you. If you're new, be sure to subscribe for new DIY projects every week. This week we decided to test out some DIY stains to see how they'd actually look. We made 3 different stains that can be all put together using household items. So what's the benefit of a DIY stain? In addition to costing you just pennies to make yourself, these DIY stains have no VOCs, meaning they don't smell like a traditional stain. Plus, you won't have to worry about ventilation while you're staining since the fumes aren't strong or harmful. So, we tested vinegar-based stains. The smell reminded me of a photography darkroom in high school, actually. Another benefit of these DIY stains is that it won't create a blotchy finish on inexpensive wood. Using a wood conditioner can prevent off-the-shelf stain from blotching on cheap pine or whitewood boards like these, but since homemade stains don't have solvents like those, the stain is naturally more even once it's dried. So let's show you our experiment. We concocted 3 stains and a few variations using everyday ingredients: white vinegar, apple cider vinegar, instant coffee, fine grade steel wool, plus black tea for an extra pre-treatment. Now for most people, these are everyday ingredients. I don't actually drink coffee or tea, so we went to the store and grabbed them, but hopefully you have these around your house. For stain A, we poured about 1.5 cups of white vinegar into a pint jar and added a steel wool pad, which we ripped into smaller pieces to help speed up the process. We'd recommend putting the steel wool in the jar first so it stays toward the bottom of the jar instead of floating up, more like ours did. Since each stain is different, we recommend mixing enough stain to complete a whole project. Stains like these are perfect for smaller decorating projects like we'll be showing you later. Stain B was the same white vinegar and steel wool with the addition of 1 tablespoon of instant coffee. For stain C, we swapped the white vinegar for apple cider vinegar, still with a pad of steel wool. Now, loosely cap each jar. Remember, there's going to be a reaction happening here, so each jar does need airflow. Then wait. This is the downside of the DIY stain, giving it time to sit and age. Let the stain sit for at least 24 hours. We let ours sit approximately 36 hours, and the longer you let it sit, the more the steel wool will break down and darken the stain. So depending on what you're going for, you might need a little more time or a little less. Remove the steel wool. You can see that stain B looks much different than it did when it started, but stain A and stain C don't look much different. Don't worry, it does work. But I want you to guess right now. Leave me a comment, which stain do you think will be the darkest on the wood? I think you'll be surprised at the results. So for our experiment, we tested 3 stains and 4 different pre-treatments, plus an untreated board for a control group. Our boards are all slightly different, just what we had on hand, but the same inexpensive pine or whitewood boards like you'd find at any hardwood store. Our pre-treatments were regular white vinegar, apple cider vinegar, black tea, and coffee. The black tea and coffee were both brewed strong with 4 bags of tea to 1 cup of hot water, and 2 tablespoons of instant coffee to 1 cup of water. We applied each of the pre-treatments to 1 board and let them dry. Then we applied each of the stains and let them dry. You can see over this 30-minute time lapse how the stains change and age the wood differently based on the pre-treatments. After 30 minutes, we wiped off the excess stain and let the boards dry overnight as the stain continued to age the wood. And here's the fun part. Here is a look at our test results. So, was your guess about the darkest stain right? I was so surprised to see that the different stains didn't make as much of a difference as the different pre-treatments. But wait, we're not done. For our end project that we'll share in a few days, we also wanted to use our favorite color washing technique to closely match the muted blue of this picture frame. Typically, to color wash wood, we just mix water with any color paint and use that as a stain. For this experiment though, we decided to mix one of our stains to see how the aging reaction might work when mixed with a colored paint. So we concocted a custom color that was a close match, which we mixed with stain C, the one with apple cider vinegar. Then we tested it out with two different pre-treatments and decided that the vinegar was a closer match to the color that we wanted. So now that we have the scientific background to achieving the aged wood look, we wanted to start staining the boards for our project, beginning with the pre-stains, which are vinegar, black tea, coffee, and apple cider vinegar. So like before, these were brushed on and given time to dry. We did dilute the black tea so that it was only half as strong on the finished boards as the test boards. Once the boards had dried, we applied the stains. Stain A with vinegar was applied to the boards, pre-treated with black tea. Stain B with vinegar and coffee was applied to the boards, pre-treated with vinegar. And stain C with apple cider vinegar was applied to the boards, pre-treated with coffee. And our custom color wash mix of stain C and paint was applied to the boards, pre-treated with apple cider vinegar. You guys aren't confused, right? Super fun. Be sure to read the blog post. It will explain everything if you're confused and you want to try this. We applied 2 coats of each stain, allowing 30 to 60 minutes drying time between coats. For wood stains, we found that the best technique was to apply the stain and wipe off the excess fairly quickly. Allowing the excess to sit too long caused some spotty sections since the homemade stain is very thin. Basically, still the same consistency as vinegar. If you were more patient or only staining one side of the board, this might not be as much of an issue. As for the color wash paint stain, it took better to the boards when given a few minutes to sit on the boards before wiping off the excess. After the second coat, we let the color finish developing overnight, and here are the results. So, what do you think? Which one do you like best? And will you give a DIY stain a try on your next DIY project? I'd love to hear what you think and your experience with making your own stain. So please leave me a comment below. I can't wait to show you what we made with these stained boards, but you'll have to wait a few more days. Totally worth the wait, I promise. Let us know in the comments if you have any certain projects you would like us to try. We would love your advice. In the meantime, be sure you've clicked subscribe so you can see what we've turned these boards into, and then watch this awesome viral video of our cottage playhouse bunk beds and this playlist of our favorite pallet wood projects. We'll be back later this week to show you the finished product. See you later. Bye guys.